we'll call it the putt, when it went in, okay, everyone was excited, and Mike Weir went on there. Now, Weirzy and I are a year apart, and his salad is starting to get a little bit higher and higher. There was a side profile, and I said to Steph, I go, that's me. That's me in a year or two, because the forehead's getting bigger and bigger. It's starting to creep up, and now it's the dome part you're going to push forward. I don't know what I'm going to end up doing here.
Noodles, the question is
a forward press.
The question is,
yes.
If you get the strip down the middle gone, are you going to continue to have some lengths on the side?
I don't like
because I got a ton of respect if you still grow the sides and just like down Main Street is gone.
So the toilet bowl, like it's flat, like in the middle, but then the sides, like the Larry David. If I get the Larry David,
but even like Larry just took her down. You need we're talking like massive strips on the side. You really need to grow out.
Well, see,
I
have
side
no, but like if you don't go strips. I have a lot of respect for a guy that's got healthy sides, and it's like a nice length.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you are talking Larry David. Okay,
like Balls of the Clown on the side.
That's
but
a
then
different
just
look.
Bald on
top.
top.
Pull that off.
I don't think so. See, what's concerning is I have a little side part as it is, and you're talking as it goes back and back, grow it, and then fold it over, like fold the sod over.
Fold the sod over, a little wedge from 80 yards out. Just fold it over.
It's tough in the pool, though, man. You get out.
And it's coming down. Like, to me, the guy exactly. There's Larry David.
That's a classy look. Larry David's got a classy look.
I have respect. It's like I got nothing down the middle. And the sides of the fairways, I'm growing out. U.S. Open. It's the U.S. Open.
But see, I like Weirzy still got it. And I shouldn't pick on Weirzy because that's me. But it's just he had a side profile when he was getting interviewed. And I was like, that is me. Like, it's starting to creep up. If there's a measurement, like 6 months from now, I should be measuring the farther it goes back and goes back. Because I think his is starting now kind of where mine is. But his is like thinning a little bit too. And the side profile, I'm staring at him. I'm like, that is me in a year.
You're like, Manhattan or Miami, where like slowly the water's moving in,
it's
right?
It's just like creeping up a little bit.
Slowly. And I posted a pic, like my wife and I were at the Taylor Swift concert over the weekend in Detroit. And we posted a pic. I posted it up on my Instagram. And it was like a wind, and the hair was starting to fly. And I had a number of people write in and say, that may be moving in the wrong direction. And that was kind of a come-to-Jesus moment. I'm like, now that I look at it, there is some weird stuff going on. But you know what's funny? Like you mentioned, that's your haircut now, and that's it. I remember thinking of that, like when I was a kid, my dad's haircut, my friends' dads, I'd be like, they never changed their hair. They find a hairstyle, and it's just that's it for 40 years.
Yeah.
And I was always like, that doesn't make sense. And now I get it because I'm the same guy. Like you and I are going to be. I'm going to have the exact same hair until it's basically gone or I'm gone, and that's it. There's no change.
O's got the best hairline. Like I think you've got you don't have a lot of receding on the sides. It's just. Like, it's almost like Ditka hair, Mike Ditka. Like, it's just a full, it's a full salad. It's just going to be great.
It's very Ditka-like. Last time you grew it out, though, you didn't like it. Remember, we were up in the alumni box, and they panned to us, and you had the long hair.
Well, we got put on the Jumbotron, and you look like you put your arm around me for a pic, and I look like a Sasquatch, and I hated it. My hair, it was just... It was like his cam or something, and Hayes put his arm around me, and someone sent us the pic, and I looked like a WWF monster, and this guy, I just, it didn't even look like me. I was disgusted.
Wow, but your hair is, your hair is going to be consistent the rest of your life. It'll just be great.
All good.
That's it.
You'll be fine.
My dad, since he was 30 years old, was premature gray, and he had the full salad until he died. That was
Noodles, for me, anything goes backwards. As soon as I know it goes backwards, that July 2nd, first class ticket to Turkey, and no one will see me in the summer, and I'll come back with a brand new
Wouldn't
salad.
that be phenomenal? Hey, what are you up to on Labor Day? Actually, I'm feeling very good. Why don't we get together? I haven't seen you all summer.
Yeah.
and
Pool
the
party.
hair is just
Pool
textbook.
party.
I'm honest to God. Like, I have a buddy. I've told you this. I got a buddy from Edmonton who constantly, every time he sees Struddy, he's like, "You got to go see my guy." And apparently, it's not Turkey. He went to Calgary of all places, and he's
Really?
like, "This guy in Calgary hooked me up."
Okay.
And he even told me the story this summer. I was sitting with him, and he goes, "I go, just give me the Cole's Notes version of the salad," and he goes, "My brother drove me to Calgary." He goes, "I went to San Diego. I thought of Turkey. I went to all these places." He goes, "The best place, Calgary, Alberta." He goes, "I went down to Calgary. My brother drove me down because he goes, I knew it was going to be a tough procedure." He goes, 8 hours later, I came back, and he goes, like, honestly, within a month, I had a full salad.
That
like
is
a
phenomenal.
Full salad.
Yeah, that is phenomenal. The science is out there. It's
Yeah.
available. So that's good to hear. Anyway, we'll figure that out. We'll cross all those bridges when we get to it. As of today, we don't have to concern ourselves with it. We got a big show today. Ryan Huska coming up. Speaking of Calgary, maybe Huska's going to get there. I don't know. I mean, maybe Huska decides with the new head coach money. Let's see what's going on here in Calgary.
He's Messier, right? I don't know
exactly.
if you know, like, he's full Messier. So I don't know if that would be like going from Costanza. Do you remember when Costanza got the big wig like that?
Wouldn't that be phenomenal if he showed up at his first day on the job, brand new salad?
See, that would be
phenomenal hair.
weird if he did what I just mentioned. Like, he's in Turkey right now and doesn't resurface until training camp, and he walks in the room with a full mullet. The guys would pass out on the ground.
Boys, I'm a head coach now, and it is go time. Imagine that first day presser where everyone would be like, "I think this guy might have flown to Turkey. Like, this is wild." Wow,
it is.
I can't imagine that's going to happen, but I guess anything's on the table.
And
right?
no, we're not
Anyway.
asking that.
Well, I mean, I do believe we've got to. I'm going to work in the last question, and I already kind of laid the groundwork of it, is because if you show, like yesterday, the Flames ran a video of Huska. He's been with the organization for many years. Mm-hmm. So it shows him on the bench as an assistant coach. And over the years, like when he started, he had a full salad. So he had a full salad, and then now he got announced yesterday, and he's Messier. So at some point, I kind of feel like, and this guy played with Struddy, like he knows what our show's all about. I think we have to, at some point, maybe last question, just be like, at what point did you decide to go Messier? Maybe it was Matt Stajan who pulled him aside.
Well, Stage might be
exactly.
Stage might be looking at the same thing.
Right.
Our buddy Adam Scully just sent me a text saying that one of his really good buddies went to Kosovo in Serbia. He said it cost him $5,000, but he is a completely new man. Wow. He said he's completely reverted back to.
How can you not do that? You just hand somebody $5,000. You're on a bird, and you come home with a brand new head of hair.
Yeah,
I would be all in.
There you go. Okay, so it's a possibility. And anyway, I don't think we'll get to that with Huska. We'll leave that to you, Noodles. You know him.
I'm gonna.
You
might
can break the ice on that front.
Be tempted to ask. Well, I don't think it'll be the first question.
Yeah, I don't think we'll start there, but you know where we might start? We got Darko Rajokovic coming up, and he was introduced to the media today. Is ask him about Jokic and if he's putting it on here because he knows him well, right? Like Jokic was asked about Darko getting a gig a couple of days ago, and he spoke really, really highly of him. And obviously they're countrymen, and, you know, it's not a very big country, yet it's doing some serious damage on the sporting landscape, right? You got Djokovic, you've got the Joker. Now you got a head coach up here in Toronto, among many others. And that was an awful basketball game, first and foremost. It was terrible.
They couldn't make a bucket.
Denver was 1 for 15 from 3 at the half, and they won the game. 1 for 15. And
at
it
the
just
half.
At the half. And they won the ball game. And, like, Jimmy Butler was terrible until he got hot, right? And he did get hot. He made it a ball game.
Yeah.
He got hot, but it was too little too late. Lowry was trying every trick of the trade to draw fouls and you know, draw charges, and you feel for Kyle because he was right there, and I'm not sure he's going to get another chance like that. But credit to Denver and credit to Jokic. Naturally, he wins the MVP. Now he's got back-to-back regular season MVPs. He's got a finals MVP. He's got a ring. I mean, now we're talking about how far up the list this guy can go, and he looks like he couldn't care less.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. Like, did he know he won?
I couldn't believe his reaction.
His comments like, now we can go home. He said something like, now we can go home.
Wasn't he pissed the parade was on Thursday? He was like, can't you make it?
Like he's got to be joking. He has to be putting it on, because I've never seen anyone react to the win the way he did. Because again, that's a close ball game. If you blow them out and they win by 20, then they're already celebrating on the bench. The final buzzer doesn't really matter.
Right.
Miami could have fouled them late, but the game was over at that point. Credit Miami. They said, forget it. We're not going to waste time. It's over.
Yeah.
We're done. It's in Denver. Have your moment. But Jokic went to every single member of the Miami Heat to shake their hands, which I have a ton of time for, but I also just can't wrap my head around it. And I'd love to get a reaction from the 12th man on the Heat, who turns around and is like, are you shaking my hand? I haven't played in months. Like, you just won a championship, and I'm the guy you're thinking about connecting with? Like, that is a different dude. And we just saw the clip
of all the garbage things that's happening in live sports, give the guy some props for having some class.
Well, that's it. I think that's just who he is. Like, he just loves ball. He wants to win. Once it's over, it's like, I'm not going to show anyone up. I'm not going over the top with emotion. I'm happy to be here and see you later.
There was 3 things that stood out for me. That one, where his reaction was just, kind of all business. I'll relax later. Secondly, his brothers were just they were having a time.
They threw Mike Malone up in the air. And Malone doesn't have a choice but smile. But that's a scenario where you could see him being like, guys, can you please not do that?
Guys.
They're throwing him in the air and they're goons. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Beauties.
And then the third one, I thought Jamal Murray, his reaction, I thought his speech, everything was just so amazing. Amazing. Those were the 3 things that stood out. Outside of it being a bit of a dog of a game, just where both teams couldn't make a bucket down the stretch.
Right,
it was
terrible.
really weird.
It really was terrible. Like, defensively, they played pretty well, but there were open looks, and it was just brick after brick after brick, and mistake after mistake, and turnover after turnover.
Yeah.
But you're right. Jamal Murray's story was incredible. Blowing his knee out.
Yeah.
You're out of sight, out of mind. You do that. You leave the NBA for the amount of time he had to leave the NBA. For him to come back and factor in the way he did. Sure, that is Jokic's team, but Murray is a clear-cut number 2. Mm-hmm. Right. Clear-cut number 2. And he was great. He was great all season. He was phenomenal in the playoffs. There's another Canadian from Kitchener now with a ring. And Stan Kroenke, after the game, I think this guy's just won too much. Yeah. I think it's been too much winning, right? He looked like he was asleep. He was asleep talking to Lisa Salters.
Dude, there was a clip of him talking to her, and someone says, Kroenke, the notorious close talker. I don't even know if he knows that there's a mic there.
He didn't.
And it was just, it was the weirdest picture. It's like, dude, there's a microphone right there. Why are you whispering in her ear?
We have it. Why don't we play it? This is
greatest.
The owner. Again, Bill Foley's taking notes. He's like, that's an interesting move. I like that little close talk if I can get on the ice tonight. Here's Stan Kroenke with Lisa Salters after the game. And this is what, if you saw it, you know what we're talking about. If you missed it, this is what you missed.
The drought is over. What does this trophy mean to this city?
Unbelievable. The fans in this town are unbelievable, as you can see, Lisa. Unbelievable. And so it means a lot to us to be able to get this done. And the fans, we couldn't have done it without them. So fantastic.
He thinks he's having a conversation with her and not to the fans. Like, he waves off. I don't know who that was. Was that his brother? I think he waved him off, and then he's literally leaning in, just talking to her. But it's almost like it's too loud here. I got to get my words into your ear.
Right.
It was
exactly.
so weird.
Forget the microphone. Let me yell into your ear. But this guy he owns the Colorado Avalanche, just won the Stanley Cup. He owns the Rams, the LA Rams, who just won the Super Bowl. Now he's got the Nuggets. He's also got a lacrosse team that won the championship in 2022. That looked like a guy who's really just bored with winning. It's just, great fans. Hey, Lisa Salters, where's your ear? I'll whisper to you what, my Cole's notes so I can get out of here. Pretty incredible. And I feel like there's going to be a double down tonight. It feels as if Vegas will take care of business. I could see it being nervous. I could see it be a nervy type of game.
Well, that's what happened last night. It's like the positive stress, the moment, it sometimes just takes over, and you get a dud.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what you saw last night.
Wouldn't surprise me if that happened tonight.
But in the end, Denver got it done. And that's all Vegas has to focus on tonight. Is if it's ugly, it doesn't matter. We got to find a way to get it done. And you're right, Bill Foley. I am fascinated to see where, like, this guy is going to be on the bench and warm up. This guy is going to be front and center, and production is going to cut to him 100 times tonight. Like,
he'll
be
front and center. And I don't know what a championship win, assuming it happens tonight. I don't know what that looks like in Vegas. Because Vegas is where championship teams go before they head to their final destination, right? You slide into Vegas for 2 nights, and then you leave. Like, if you're on the Strip tonight, how many people even know the Golden Knights are playing?
Dude, the Strip's a gong show to begin with.
Exactly. Like, if you're there and you're on a bachelor party, bachelorette party, you don't even know what's going on. You know, like, you're just in your own ballpark. You're going for dinner, and then maybe you're hitting the felt, maybe you're hitting some club. I don't know. I'm really genuinely curious. Like, do they parade on Las Vegas Boulevard? Is that even allowed? Like, what are people in Vegas going to do?
If I was on Vegas and I won the cup at home tonight, and I got the chance to steal the cup at 5 a.m, I would get in a cab and go to some dive bar in Old Vegas and just sit there and drink cold beers at a dive bar with the Stanley Cup. That would be my signature move.
Place where Sinatra or something hung
just
out
some old
Vegas.
dungy dive bar that
like
was
the
open
Sands or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that idea. Go somewhere else. Like, the Strip is too obvious. The Golden Knights win, they got to go to some gritty bar and or fly up to Reno or something like that. Yeah, do something different.
Man, oh man! But I can't imagine. Like, I remember talking to my buddies who've won cups before, where on days where they thought that they could win, like, it was no nap in the afternoon. Like, they were too antsy. Like, it was especially if you're on home ice, too much distractions. Like, one of my buddies was married with kids. He's like, I went to the basement and just said, you handle everything else, to his wife. And he's like, I just got to try and focus on getting to the game.
Sure.
Like, it was weird. And he said by the time you get to, like, game whatever it was, 22, 24, your body's just so used to doing whatever. Like, he started playing the drums. He's like, I couldn't sleep, so I'd go down and play the drums in the afternoon just to kind of get my mind off things. So it was really weird to see everyone's different routine. But by the time they got it done, it's like, okay, we got it done in 6 or whatever.
Sure.
So it's pretty cool to see. It'd be interesting to hear.
Easy, we got to play this clip of the Joker when we have it, JP, when he finds out the parade is Thursday.
God.
You said after the Lakers win, you said you were surprised that you didn't feel more. So I'm curious what you are feeling right now, and if you're looking forward to a parade coming up in Denver.
When is parade? When is parade?
Thursday.
No. I need to go home. Okay.
Man, that guy is stressed out about winning. Like,
Dude, he just turned to the PR guy and said, when is the parade? He wanted it that night.
Right,
exactly. He wanted the parade that night.
Let's get it all over with right now. Let's go parade until 2 in the morning. I'll give you until 2 in the morning, and then I'm out of here. I'm flying out of here. Like, what if they lost last night? Then forget a parade. You got to play again, dude.
Yeah.
Did you imagine how mad Miami would be saying that guy wouldn't even have wanted to play the next game? He wanted to go home.
Right. You talk about, we always discuss the idea of, someone on Expedia.ca when their team's going to miss the playoffs. This guy's in the finals up 3-1, and he's like, all right, how do I get out of here? Like, where's my U-Haul? Can I book flights? Assuming we win, I want to leave by Thursday.
Yeah,
that is a wild answer for an NBA champion. That's the face of the NBA right now, effectively.
And he can't wait to get out of there. Well, he wants to. I mean, thing is, that maybe he's got something going on in Serbia that he's got to get home to or wherever. Like, I don't know. It's just a weird reaction that there was. Like, did you see him smile once? Everyone else was smiling. He was
I don't remember seeing him smile. That's what I'm saying. When he won, it was just like routine. Like he had just wrapped up, jury duty service. And hey, where are the other 11?
Hang on a sec. Joe from the Bridge claims
here.
he has another clip of him explaining why he has to get home.
You got a parade coming up here on Thursday.
Yes.
How soon till you're back in Southport?
I need to. On Sundays I have my horse racing in my
Horse racing?
Horse racing?
I was going to get to that. The horse racing.
Maybe I don't know how we're going to arrive. Thursday parade, Friday maybe.
Would you make it?
I don't know.
Maybe you can have enough time to squeeze it in.
I'm going to ask Josh to give me a plane.
Oh, I think he'll definitely let you get the team plane. I think you deserve that. You deserve a little bit more than that.
I did it on TV. I'm going to finish by.
I put him under the pressure.
Put him under pressure.
Yes, I did.
Nicole,
I don't feel bad at all.
Horse racing? Is he like an owner of a horse in Serbia?
He must have a bunch of horses. That's what made him happy. He's like, I got to get out of here. It's like Eddie Olczyk just won the NBA championship.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get out of here because the ponies are running, and I got to find a private bird. I got to be back by Sunday.
It's so funny.
Just
at least he smiled
reaction.
And was joking there. Like at least he's
love it.
planning it out in his mind.
Different.
Like he's literally planning it out. Like, I think I can get there if I get a private bird.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the owner will give you his plane.
I think it's amazing his reaction though. He's just like, he knows he's a really talented player and he knows people probably counted him out. And he's just like, that's my job to win that. And I'm not going to overreact and I'm not going to, sometimes people get over emotional or whatever. He's just like, that's what I'm supposed to do. And we're a good team. And that was our job. And I as a GM, as an owner, you have to love that, looking at that, man.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yes.
Like that guy,
it's like, that's my job.
That's my job.
Right.
Like I remember Tiger Woods saying it or his former caddy telling the story. Tiger made like some big 8-footer or something like that. And his caddy was like, man, what a putt. Like that's under pressure. And he's like, I'm Tiger Woods. Like, I'm supposed to make that putt. Like, that's not
exactly.
Like, it was basically like, no, it wasn't. Like, I'm Tiger Woods. I'm supposed to do that. And Jokic supposed to do that. There was a great tweet Schefter had it clearly sitting in the drafts for like 5 minutes after the series came to an end last night, that when Jokic was drafted, it was a second-round pick, they didn't even show the pick live. They went to commercial.
A Taco Bell commercial.
It was a Taco Bell commercial, and it just pops up onto the screen like 41 pick, Denver, Nikola Jokic. The panel probably didn't even talk about it. They probably came back, and whoever was hosting it probably said, all right, Jokic, Serbian, 4. Okay, there you go. Moving on. Who's number 42?
And his comment was they didn't believe in the fat boy. He goes, the fat boy showed him.
Man, he sure did. What a player. Like, just a remarkable player. And obviously, if you're Jamal Murray and company, he's the man. He's going to drive you there, and I wouldn't be shocked if they did that again next year. So we got a big one today. Ryan Huska, the new head coach of the Calgary Flames. We got a new owner out in Ottawa. We'll get to that a little bit later this afternoon. Jay's back in action in Baltimore. Game 5 Cup final. Darko Rajokovic announced to the media today he will be on the show making his debut as the Raptors head coach in about an hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel. Ryan Huska will join us here in just a few moments. Mike Johnson coming up in just over half an hour. Game 5 of the Cup final. Peter Laviolette, new head coach down in New York.
Yeah.
Your boy, Laviolette. And he generally does a good job, the first couple of years.
He's almost coached every team in that division.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, the Islanders, Carolina, Washington,
Philly.
Rangers. Yeah, Philly. Yeah. That's right. He's almost been everywhere.
Everyone except Jersey, he's coached.
Yeah, and Pitt, I guess.
Yeah, it's not a bad situation, though. But I think you know him better than anybody, but he's a good coach. He's a good coach, and he'll bring some jam into that locker room and some urgency, and he's demanding, and you understand the way he operates. It's up-tempo. It's coach to win, play to win, and I think he'll be a good fit there. But I like Jerry Gallant, too, so I don't know. These coaches, the firing of the coaches all across sports, I think is insane, to be honest with you. But I think Lavi will do well there. I think he'll get a response from those guys.
Yeah, he generally does. He really generally does. And if you're a new coach stepping into a new room, right, you got to have that message ready to go. And that would apply to the guy that we have on the line right now. He's the new head coach out in Calgary. Here's Ryan Huska joining us here on Overdrive. Congrats on the new gig. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing well, and thank you very much. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Have you put any thought into that? I know, day one of camp is still many, many months away, but that first day message, trying to get that tone across early, how important is that as a new coach?
Yeah, I do think it is important. I mean, of course, you're going to have your phone calls with your players here over the summer, and they're going to have an understanding of what we're going to look to do and how we want to play and how we want to be as a team. But you want to get their attention. You've got to let them know that there's some excitement and some enthusiasm, and there's a real belief in the group that we have together. So it is most definitely a very important meeting or a time for you to be with your players.
Ryan, do you think it's an easier transition that you have a relationship with everyone, and it's now that you're the main guy? Is it simply as just reconnecting with the guys and trying to get across the message that you want to send?
Yeah, Noodles, I think for a lot of people, they may be saying, hey, that's a tough transition. But for me, I look at it the other way. I think it's a positive thing. I'm coming from a point where I have a relationship with these guys already. Now, sometimes as an assistant coach, that a relationship is a little bit different, where they're going to trust you with some other things that they might not with a head coach. But I already have that going in with a lot of our players. Now it's up to me to earn their trust in a different way, which I feel like I'm ahead of the game already on. And of course, as a head coach, your role is different. How you communicate with them is different in regards to timing and how often you're in front of them. But in regards to how I am and how I present myself, that's not changing whatsoever. And I think that maybe is one of the dangers that some guys would fall into, that you try to be something you're not. And I most definitely will not do that. That's never been me, and I'm going to make sure I stay true to who I am.
Ryan, you mentioned talking to some of your players, and I think you would agree that the reality is that more than one or two of them have to play much better next year. So when you say you're reaching out to them, did it get to seriousness right after saying, hey, I'm the new coach, to we need a lot more from you, or is that going to be a conversation for another day?
Yeah, I think there's multiple conversations that will come into it. You talk a little bit, and then sometimes it's where the conversation goes, because the players oftentimes are forthcoming with a lot of information, and then you can get right into some things that you would like to see from them, or how you see them being able to have a little bit more success this year. And that's one of the great parts of already knowing them. You don't have to necessarily get into what their background is and who they are and what they stand for, and really trying to get to know them. I feel like I'm one step ahead of that, which I'm pretty excited about.
With Ryan Huska, the new head coach of the Calgary Flames, again, you've been on the staff now for a while, which means you were up close and personal with Daryl Sutter, the former head coach. You saw a Coach of the Year winner 2 years ago, and then you saw a guy this year that clearly it got away from him or got away from the team, and it led to the change that opened the door for you to step in. With that being the case, is it possible to try to take what worked from Daryl and marry it with what didn't work, or is it that is completely off the table and you want to be your own man, your own head coach in terms of how you're going to approach this group?
Yeah, well, first thing I think it is you are your own man and you are your own head coach. But along the way, the relationships that you develop and the people that you get a chance to learn from, you take a lot from them. And I mentioned yesterday that it's like you're building a book, if you will. So there's some things you're like, man, I really love what this guy does here, how he does this. So you put that in there and you add that to what you believe. And then same holds true on the other side of the equation. Yeah, you know what, that doesn't really suit me, and that's not something that I would do. And if we're speaking specifically about Daryl, he is a Stanley Cup winning coach, one of the winningest coaches of all time. And for 2.5 years, I've had an opportunity to learn from and work with one of the best. So my time here working with him, I feel is really important for me and has helped me get to this position that I'm at today. And it's all the relationships that you build. Like, you take things from all these guys. And, I mean, Noodles, it's no different than your partners that you would have played with along the way. You watch guys at the other end of the ice and see what they're doing. And, wow, maybe I can try to do that. Well, there's no chance I could try to do that. But you've got all sorts of different ways where you try to pick up information and you make yourself a better coach along the way. And I'm really lucky with my path that I've had, that I've been able to have those experiences.
So what you're saying is there was a slight drop-off between myself and Kippersoff. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe a slight one. But you would still look down there and see, hey, that guy's pretty good at this. Maybe I could try that.
There were too many times where I'd watch him make a save and say, there's zero chance I would have made that save. But I'm glad I'm sitting here and I got a front row seat to watching it. But you mentioned relationships. Is it key to have we'll call him a young general manager in Craig Conroy, his first shot at being in the main chair? Is it critical to have that relationship with Connie to work together to move forward?
Absolutely. It's our job, together. We have to work together basically every day. I mean, Connie has a vision for how he sees the team and what he envisions will be a winning team here year after year after year. And it's my job to make sure that we get ourselves to the level that we're on the same page. We talk about the game and how we like to see the team play. Our philosophies and our styles and the way we think it are similar. The beauty about it with Connie is he does a lot of communicating, a lot of talking. So we're going to have great conversations about, hey, why did we do this, or why aren't we doing this? And I'll be able to go back to him and say, well, this is why we're doing it, because that's the type of person he is. And when I go back to the communication style, like when we all played way back when, if a coach never said anything to you, you felt pretty good about it. Like, obviously I'm doing something right if nobody's talking to me. But today's day and age, it's the total opposite. Like, if you go past the guy and you visit with someone and maybe you don't visit with the next guy beside him, well, he's going to spend all day thinking, what did I do wrong here? Or what am I missing? Am I not playing well? So those are the types of things that we want to try to avoid. And that's why the communication is so important. And Craig, as the general manager here, is one of the best at it. And I'm going to try to work along with him all the way.
I saw something yesterday where you have to round out your coaching staff, and we have a guy that we have on the show that's a potential defenseman coach, and his name is Jason Strudwick.
Oh, my God.
Would he be of any consideration to run the D-corps back there?
What? I don't even really know how to answer that one. Like, I'm going to give you a serious answer first. Like,
just say no, it's never happening, because I know that's the real answer.
Listen, he thinks and sees the game really well, but when you have hair like that, I don't know if it could ever be a reality.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly right.
We have him on the show once a week, and we did this segment, and I'll bring you into this. So it was called the Salad Rebuild, and we keep talking about Struddy, where at some point he's going to have to let it go. So I'm going to be honest here. I watched a video of your progression with the Calgary Flames, and early on there was a pretty good salad for yourself, and now you've gone Messier. So at what point did somebody pull you aside?
Yeah, when's the moment of truth?
Yeah, or did you just decide and look in the mirror and say, I've got to go right down to the wood here?
You know what? I think it was actually my wife, and she was at a game, and she was looking down on the bench, and she went, oh, my God. Like, he's got a serious monkey bum back there. Like, that thing's got to go. So she's told me that night, like, I think you might have to look at shaving that off or doing something with it, because you are really thinning up top. So we took it down a little bit, and then it just kind of went further and further from there.
Well, what about new coach, new hair? Like, any chance we could fly you to Turkey for a full new rebuild and get you behind the bench next year, or what?
Just put the plugs in and let her run. Not a chance. I think if I were to let this thing grow, I would look like Hulk Hogan with that kind of horseshoe around the back.
Yeah, we had that chat earlier. One of us might be moving in that direction.
Yeah, I think I'm trending in that direction. The toilet bowl, It doesn't look good. Yeah, it's not.
Hey, the one good thing about that, though, if you were to take it off, you just wake up out of bed and you look great.
That is very valid. Yeah, very, very, very true with Ryan Huska, the new head coach out in Calgary. So I'm curious, Ryan, like, in terms of expectations, you guys, last year was a disappointing year. The year before, you guys had a great team. You won your division. You get through the first round. The expectations were really high, again, going into this season. But turnover with Darryl out, Tree leaving, moving on, you and Conroy stepping in. Like, what kind of expectations do you have for the Flames going into next season?
Well, they should be high, and I think every player should have that as well. And from the guys that I've been able to talk with already, they're excited and they want to get back at this. And I think when you look at our team last year, analytically, we did a lot of good things. Like our numbers in the areas that we measure and the way we looked at our team were pretty solid. There's a few areas that we have to correct and we're going to work on for sure. But we were involved in a lot of one-goal games last year. And I'm pretty sure we led the league in shootout and overtime losses. And if we do a few things a little differently, a little better in certain areas, all of a sudden those one-goal games, maybe we're winning a handful more of them. And then instead of missing the playoffs by 3 points because of the tiebreaker, well, we're 3 points into the playoffs. And it's a total different story. So that's how fine of a line it is. And that's what we try to get our players to understand here. You have to bring your best each and every night, and you have to trust the people that you're on the ice with. So these one-goal games that we were a part of, we're going to really shift it. So we're going to win more of those games than we did this past year. And by doing that, we're going to give ourselves a much better chance of getting to where we want to be.
Well, we wish you nothing but success moving forward. And congrats on the new gig, and enjoy the off season while you can, and we'll do it again down the road. Thank you for this.
Thank you guys very much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
You got it. Ryan Huska, head coach of the Flames. I like that guy. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I want to see it work for him.
He knows Struddy, eh? Poor Struddy.
That's so
salad. Good. Right away, goes right after his salad, eh?
Nothing to do with his hockey acumen, how he'd run a bench, what he'd possibly do on the back end. Just, no, we can't have him.
Get Struddy on tomorrow. Hazy, I don't think you're here tomorrow, but I want Struddy on tomorrow, and I want that clip played right off the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will. We'll bring Struddy in with just that clip from Ryan Huska, just saying.
Playing it 3 or 4 times in a row.
Was Huska, he was a part of that Kamloops team, but there were a few of them that won all 3, right? Was he one of the 3-pack? I thought
I think Tux won 4 Memorial Cups in a row.
I think there was 3. Was
there
3?
3?
Yeah.
It was him. I think Nasher was there for all 3.
Yeah, so Huska was on the Blazers for 4 years, and I think he won 3 cups there with it was Doan and you're right, Tucker and guys like that.
Because there was turnover. Niedermeyer was on the first one, and then by the end, Ginla was on it. Right. But I know Tux was on all 3. I'm pretty sure Tyson Nash was on all 3. And
Nasher was on 3, and I'm pretty sure Huska was on 3. I'm looking at them right now. And there were other guys like Nolan Baumgartner that came. If you actually go and just look at
gross.
Unbelievable. Now, London has a program where it spits out a lot of players from the O, and you guys can talk about other programs. But there was a couple, Kamloops for a handful of years. They went from Robbie Brown into Shane Doan and Jerome McGinley and a guy named Nat Dominicelli.
Dominicelli was really good too, wasn't he?
Unbelievable. And Darcy Tucker and, Nasher was there. Actually, Nasher was a really good player. And, they had – and they're defensive, right? It was Niedermeyer, Strudwick, a guy named Jason Holland. Brad Lukowicz was there. They had –
Nolan Baumgartner was there.
They had a
made
program.
It to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man. Donnie Hay behind the bench. He had a good salad.
They went from Hitchcock to Donnie Hay. So it was pretty good. Pretty good program, but pretty impressive. And I always tease those guys because every time they get together, it's the Kamloops hug, right? And Tux is right in the middle of that.
Insufferable. Yeah. Absolutely insufferable.
Yeah.
Probably wearing their rings. Yeah. If they got rings. I don't know if you would have got rings back in the day. Probably.
Of course. They probably look like
rings.
Nothing nowadays, but they probably got them.
Yeah. You have to.
Ask your best friend.
Yeah, I'm looking up his stats right now. In 94-95, Tux had 137 points. That's pretty good, man. 64 snipes. He only had 94 PIMs, too. That's a fair amount of PIMs, but that might have been a career low for him once he got to the NHL.
Yeah. Well, in the Western League, you got 100 minutes just for fun. Those were, if the games would get 3-1, that was it. It just, it'd be, I don't know how many times there was line brawls and stuff. I was a little bit before them. I can.
Even crazier.
Exactly. I played with a guy named Pat Pilipuke who jumped into the bench in Tri-Cities one night, and I went down to try and help out, and I just got dummied by their tough guy.
Probably get 5 in a game, but we'll see it tomorrow night, Pat. We'll see you in
Exactly.
Saskatoon tomorrow night, Pat. Pukey.
Awesome.
We'll see you in Saskatoon, Pukey.
Yeah.
Well, that Pietrangelo stuff we didn't really get into, like him coming out of the penalty box and then getting involved in the scrum. Like, it's dicey. Like, it was dicey. Like, the explanation was that the official let him out and that he was not the aggressor, which I don't believe he was, but he did get involved.
Yeah.
Like, he was definitely in there. He was aggressive once he got in.
Yeah,
Pietrangelo.
Kachuk was raking his head with a stick.
That's the thing.
And slashing at him
Kachuk
and
started
stuff.
the whole thing, and I don't believe it was worthy of a suspension, but I understand why Florida wouldn't be happy, and I understand why Edmonton may be in a way because of the Darnell Nurse stuff.
What is Kachuk, a game-time decision tonight? It sounds like he might not play.
It does kind of feel like it may be trending in the direction he won't play.
Yeah.
I guess his possible replacement, they were practicing yesterday and pretty heavily involved, and we'll see. We'll see.
I don't know. They're in one tonight. Like I predicted
really
yesterday. I predicted yesterday. I thought one of these we'll call it South Florida teams would get one. Well, it wasn't the Heat, so we'll see if it's the Panthers, and if not, like Vegas just rolls tonight, and Bill Foley is on the copter with the.
Oh, he'll be right in there. He deserves to be. If his team wins the Stanley Cup, I got to sit here and just, you got to bow to the guy. Say, phenomenal job.
Exactly.
Phenomenal job. Yeah, South Florida. I don't know what they'll do to preoccupy their time. How are they possibly going to get over the Heat and the Panthers both losing in back-to-back nights? That's got to be a first if that happens. Like within 24 hours, both your teams lose a championship game.
Marlins time. Marlins
right.
time.
It's all Marlins in Miami. You're waiting for Tua to return. Right? I mean, the Dolphins, they're probably going to be pretty good. They're a playoff team. Probably pretty good. All right, MJ coming up in about 15 minutes. The new head coach of the Raptors will join us at 5:30. Confirm or deny still to come. And our U.S. Open picks happening today. We'll get to our picks later this afternoon. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, Mike Johnson coming up in about 15 minutes. Darko Rajokovic, the new head coach of the Raptors at 5:30. U.S. Open week down at L.A. Country Club. And try to find the audio. I saw the transcript of John Rahm speaking today. He doesn't seem overly concerned with this whole LIV PGA stuff, almost as if he's maybe okay with it and, or just over it and doesn't care.
Dude, what does that guy care, Hayes? He's won $15 million and it's June.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But there have been a lot of rumors
that he was the next guy?
Possibly. Again, just rumors, but maybe even with all that said, what you just said, it was like, all right, I've done that. I've won my majors now. Or maybe he was sniffing it out. Maybe some of these guys were sniffing it out. And they're like, okay, if it's going to happen anyway. Like, again, I think Koepka made a joke today. He's like, after the U.S. Open, he said, I'll see you at the Travelers. Like, he knows what's coming. The guys I guarantee you they've been promised. You won't pay a penny. They're not keeping you off the tour.
Yeah, no kidding. And they're talking about fines and making it life difficult. I heard the two guys, Todd Lewis, speaking on the Golf Channel, and he's like, if you were guys like Mickelson that were carving the PGA Tour, they're going to make it a little bit more difficult. No, they're not.
No,
you can't do that.
They're not.
You can't just say, because you said some bad things, we're going to make it tougher on you. You can't do it.
Why would you believe it anyway? Up until 2 weeks ago, they were never going to give in to LIV. They were never going to like LIV, work with LIV. Why would you ever believe? This is just poor loser talk, right? Like they had to capitulate. They worked out a deal. Fine, the PGA Tour continues to be the PGA Tour. But now it's like, well, yeah, okay, we did that, but you're still not going to be able to just come out.
Dude,
yeah,
if one of them plays in an event, all of them are going to play. It's this,
of course,
because
the lawsuits have been dropped, right? The players have been suing the PGA Tour, and now the lawsuits are being dropped. At some point, bygones are going to be bygones. I don't think it'll happen at the Travelers. Koepka's being sarcastic there, but I think likely by next year, maybe the year after, if these guys want to play on tour, they'll be playing. They might not want to. They might not care to. Again, Koepka's got so much money. He doesn't have to play non-major events if he doesn't want to. Same thing with Phil. Phil's claiming he's almost a billionaire.
And who knows if Koepka winning the PGA and some tough leaderboards leading up to it, like who knows what kind of factors. Yeah. Because there were some leaderboards where you're like, where are some of these guys?
Right, exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if it happened again this weekend. at all. In fact, I'm anticipating it will. Hour 2 coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.